Welcome to the Smarter Sales Show. You're here because you're a sales professional, you're a business owner, maybe you're an expert who really would rather not consider themselves a salesperson, but you gotta grow your business to do what you love doing. So whatever reason you're here, one of those categories, we've got you covered. We're glad you're here. This is your weekly spot for tech tips and tech do we get to do bloopers on a live show?
We do now.
This is your weekly tech tips and technique tune-up with a special focus on virtual selling. So you are either watching us on the Sales Experts channel, or maybe you're catching some clips on YouTube or LinkedIn, or maybe you are just running around, you're multitasking, you're commuting between Zoom rooms, and you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform. Doesn't matter. We're super glad you're here. I'm Merritt Khan, and every week I will be sharing sales techniques and emotional intelligence strategies, and my co-host Julie will be blowing you away with the greatest tech tools, everything that you're going to need to stand out. So we do stick to a theme for a 4-pack of episodes, and today Julie is going to take the lead in our discussion, and we're going to talk about tech to really differentiate. Now, as always, all of the resources that we mention on every episode will be in a link and the attachments if you're on the Sales Experts channel, Bright Talk platform, or in the show notes on our podcast. So I think it's time to get going. Are you ready?
Oh, I am so ready.
Let's get smarter in sales.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I got too excited there. All right. Okay. So here's why I'm excited about this episode. Let's be fair. I'm excited about every episode, but especially the tech ones because, I get to nerd out and I get to show off some cool apps that I really love. But this one is really an interesting one because it always reminds me of a particular sale that I made years ago. And I remember going through this sales process and thinking, I'm doing okay, but we were in some really tough competition and I could kind of see where maybe the alternate option might have been a better fit for that client. And I was biting my nails and the whole thing. And then I got the deal. And I can remember, yay for me. But I remember having a conversation and I said, I'd really love to understand what was it that signed on the dotted line? What was the thing that brought it home for you? And I assumed that he was going to tell me that it was, this feature that we had to have, or it was this function that we had to have or whatever, but it wasn't any of those things. What he actually said was, you were the easiest to work with.
Interesting.
And I figure if you're that easy to work with during a sales process, I felt good that your company would be easy to work with as well.
Wow.
And I was like, what? Shut the front door. That's amazing. First, it was a huge compliment, right? But more importantly, what it proved to me was that the process matters.
Yeah.
Yes, product matters, but the process matters, right?
Absolutely. I love that you asked them that question. And it's interesting when you shared that story that you assumed it would have been one thing. Like when you asked that question, what was it that brought it home for you? Honestly, that in and of itself sometimes is a differentiator because not all salespeople, sometimes we ask that question when we lose a deal. Where did I go wrong? What did I miss? But how many times do people really ask wow, I'm excited to work with you. What put you over the edge? What brought it home for you? I think that's as telling as, doing a postmortem on deals that you lose. So good for you for not assuming why you won and asking the question. That's,
Hey, that was me showing a little bit of sales technique. Don't worry, I'm not anywhere coming near your territory. In a shocking turn of events, I demonstrated some very solid technique then. But, it got me thinking for this particular episode, we talk about differentiation and what you and I clearly stated on the last episode was this isn't about your products or your services, but really about the process and the experience that you deliver to prospects during the buying journey.
Right.
And so I got to thinking about like, okay, well, how can tech really play into that and what can it do? So I started thumbing through my little Rolodex. I'm dating myself. I started thumbing through my little Rolodex of apps, which is really a spreadsheet. And I started kind of looking at all my apps, and I was really thinking like, how can I share some really useful strategies and techniques and apps for differentiation? And I settled on 3 major areas that are really easy for people to differentiate with. And it's really easy to use tech to make it happen. So we've got 3 of them coming up. I'm going to have to go quick because we know that I could talk about tech for far too long. So everybody brace yourselves because we're going to go fast through these. Okay, number 1. The first one is that you can leverage tech to connect personally, even when you're far away. Now, just because you can't connect with someone in person doesn't mean that you can't connect with them personally. Now, we're currently facing this situation where, certainly where I am, we're still on a lockdown. And even around the world right now, not only are you facing lockdown situations where we're, still in a quarantine situation, but business just isn't back to normal. And as we've discussed multiple times, Merritt, it's not going to get there.
Right.
However, one of the challenges that we hear all the time from sales professionals around this when we coach and when we work with organizations is, I'm a relationship-based salesperson and, I've got to look in their eyes, I've got to shake their hands, I've got to, build rapport and all of that. And Merritt, you do an amazing job with helping people to do that virtually. From a tech perspective, what I want to offer is that we should be using more video in our messages. Now, we love a good email, and I know that people love a good email because I get hundreds of them every day. But here's what I don't get. I don't get salespeople that are sending me video messages. And video messages are this unparalleled opportunity to not only send somebody something that they can consume on their own time, but that allows them to see you and to look into your eyes and to build rapport. And it allows you to convey emotion much more powerfully than you would if you were writing an email.
That is just, it's so smart because when I think about it, even TV personalities or the shows that I watch, I kind of feel like I know them, and it's a completely one-way experience. It's not even a dialogue. It's just like, if I saw them on the street, I would be like, oh, hey, so-and-so, I don't want to, divulge.
Right after the security peels you away from them.
Yeah, exactly. But it does, you feel like you've got that connection because you've had some FaceTime. So why?
It's scientifically proven, Merritt.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I studied when I was working on my master's degree was, I have this master's in communication, but one of the things I studied was around this trust and influence. It was a huge topic for me, and I'm fascinated by it. And there's actually a phenomenon called the mere exposure effect. And the mere exposure effect says that the more I see you, whether you and I talk or not, just the sheer act of seeing you increases my trust in you. And this is why, I recommend put a photo on your email, make sure that you've got a picture on your business card, like anywhere you can put a picture, do that because that's going to help. But now that we're even more physically distanced, we need other ways to help them connect with us personally. And that comes from hear my voice, see my face, listen to the way that I talk to you, experience my emotion. I mean, listen, you're listening to us talk right now, and Merritt and I are enthusiastic people. You would never get that in an email unless you counted the number of exclamation marks I use. But that's a missed opportunity. Now, those video emails can be fast, but there's also some other benefits. So a couple of the tools that I want to recommend for this. The first one is Loom, and the second one is Dubb, D-U-B-B. And again, links for all of these are available. Just look in all the appropriate places. So Loom and Dub are both video recording tools where we can very quickly at our desk or using our phone record a quick message to a prospect or even to a client and say, hey, I just wanted to get back to you about that proposal. Wanted to make sure you'd had a chance to look at it. If you have any questions, just drop me a quick note. Happy to talk you through it. And just like that, instead of a nagging email, they get a video. Now, here's why this is technically more sound. The first reason is that when I create these videos and I put them into an email, they automatically generate an animated GIF or GIF, depending on who you're asking. So they create this animated graphic of you going.
And if you're listening on the podcast, Julie is making some
unusual Giphy faces.
Like, yes, picture your favorite GIF and then put Julie's face on it. And that's what she just did.
Exactly. So, but what it does is it increases the likelihood that they're going to click on it because it suddenly creates this urge of, well, what's behind that?
Yeah.
I can't hear what's being said, but I can see I'm missing something. Oh my gosh, that looks interesting. I should click on it and see what it is. So
I think that's
we've got
I don't want to miss it.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of FOMO, right? It's a little bit of fear of missing out. So there's that piece of it. The other thing that is really beneficial about these video messages is that I now know when you've watched that video message. So rather than just relying on an email that frankly could be accidentally marked as read just because it's in my preview window, now I can see that you've clicked on that video and I can see that you've watched the whole thing, 1 minute of it, 20 seconds of it, whatever. So top tip is you really want to keep these video messages short, usually maybe 60 seconds tops. So keep them short and sweet. Remember, it's a bit like leaving someone a voicemail, right? So all you're really doing is a video voicemail. Check out Loom, which you can use for free, or you can check out Dub. You can also do cool things with these tools like put calls to action on. Click here to schedule a call with me. Hey, I've put a button right at the bottom so you can schedule a time on my calendar. Let's get talking soon. So that's number one, is to connect personally using video messaging.
I love it.
Pretty fast, but it was good, right? Okay.
Yeah, no, that was really good. And I'm just going to tease next week's episode for just a moment because I'm going to talk specifically about what should that 60-second little video message be? Like, what's the wording? What are you trying to accomplish in that? Because I think sometimes we try to do too much in a message. And we just have to be aware of where we are in the sales process. So stay tuned for that.
Good point. Right. I mean, you get one call to action, so better make it count.
That's right. All right. Tell us number 2.
Okay. Topic number 2, tech tip number 2, share beautifully. Okay. Every second that somebody spends looking for your attachments is time that they're losing during your sales cycle. So, how would you change your sale if you knew every time a prospect looked at your proposal? Like, understanding what's happening with what you're sharing with a prospect or a client is incredibly valuable. Now, historically, what we do is we attach a proposal to an email and we send it off. Or we've got, like, hey, I've drawn up a quick plan for us to look at. We send it off. Hey, I took a stab at what your policy might look like for our insurance providers, or here's a couple of examples of how this might look for our financial advisors. And you put it together and then you put it in attachment and you send it off. Not saying that's wrong, but it's wrong. And the reason it's wrong is because first of all, yes, it gets it across for that 1 second in time, but now it's lost and buried in somebody's email. I think we've already established that most of us are getting hundreds of emails a day. And trying to weed your way back through it to find those attachments is a nightmare. Now, not only is that a nightmare, but if we're really talking about differentiating yourself, making it easy for the client is everything. And so imagine for a second that you said to the client, you know what? I've created a space where everything that I'm sharing with you can be found, whether you need it today, tomorrow, or the day after. You can always come to this same space and everything will be right here for you. So you don't have to work so hard.
Yeah, I would buy anything.
Like, dang, that's nice.
That's incredibly. That's incredible because I think, we rely a lot on our clients and prospects to be organized. And if they're not organized, we are not easy to work with, even if we are doing some of these things. But to have one place, it's kind of like walking in with a file cabinet. It's like, here, I brought all the stuff we've ever talked about. Which document did you want to read today? Like,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just imagine how great that is from the clients. And not only that, but imagine for a second that they were going to their boss or to their committee and they're trying to pitch your deal. And the person says, well, hey, didn't they say something last week about this thing on the contract or this kind of example? Or didn't they share a case study with me about this? Hey, do you have a record of that? And the person who's like, oh, I don't know, let me go rummage around in my email for an hour and see if I can find something for you. Especially if it was a link, right? Even a link makes it even harder because you can't even sort your emails by which ones have links.
Right.
So, right. So we know that it's easier for the client when I can organize things and put them together. And I'm going to come back to this organization theme in a second. But the other huge benefit is that now you get to control the experience that person has when they interact with your collateral and your links and your examples and all the goods that you're sharing with them. So rather than it just plunking into an email, now I can actually put it all in a shared space. And in that shared space, if I use the right kind of technology, I can put a header on it. I can put my contact information up at the top. I can organize it by date. I can organize it by name. I can put extra bonus content in there. I can be so helpful and I can have this amazing closet where everything that they need is easily located, organized, named, and sorted. Plus, once again, because this is great technology, I'll be able to see when you look at it.
It'd be so great if we gave people an example of what that could actually look like.
I know. Do you know what we could do? Why don't we just do what we've been doing this whole time? And you can use the bonus links to go out and check out one of the tools I'm recommending today, which is called ShareKits. And ShareKits is a lot like another tool called DocSend, but both of these are platforms where we can create spaces or pages for specific clients, or we can share them more broadly, like share them with everybody who's listening to this podcast. And on there, we can put links to things, we can put documents, images, PDFs, Word docs, really you name it, and you can put it in there. And what happens is I can control the look and feel of it. And as soon as somebody clicks on it, I could get notified. Now, Merritt, you and I have shared the story multiple times about how being notified of when somebody was looking at a proposal closed an awesome deal for me. I am not the only person that that's happened for. But the other thing it tells you is as a sales professional, it tells you what content they're actually looking at. Where are they spending the majority of their time? And that's going to help you to know what that prospect is most interested in. So not only are you doing them a service and differentiating yourself by being awesome to work with, but you are also giving yourself a huge leg up by being able to see and analyze what's actually happening behind the scenes. So your two tools, DocSend and ShareKits. And both of those enable you to create beautiful spaces. And go check it out. Just go look at the resources page first, because there's great resources, but second, because you'll see what it looks like in action.
That's so smart. That's just so smart, because that does give you a lot of insight into how you might want to change your messaging or some of the messaging that you would stress over others. Like if you had, different things and you knew that they were looking at one specific part of, a page of it or one link or something like that. It gives you a lot of information about how you might change the way that you describe what you do and how you help people.
Well, even how you prioritize it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If I presented a proposal or even a product brochure and there's 20 products in it or 3 options in the proposal, and I can see that they're spending all of their time looking at, option 1, I already know what they're pretty interested in.
Yeah. That's genius.
And these tools enable you to, for example, control whether or not somebody can download this content. So if I want to share content, but want to keep control of it, I can make it so it can't be shared or downloaded, but I can make it so it can still be shared electronically. So I can see if somebody forwards the link to someone else, somebody brand new logs in. And you can choose whether or not you require an email address or whether you just let people have access to the content. I mean, there's all kinds of options, but the key here is if you want to differentiate yourself in the sales process, be easy to work with. Be there to help your prospect or client buy more easily. If they have to work to buy from you, it's not going to go very well.
I'm well known for being easy, Julie. So,
what do you like in sales, though, Merritt?
Easy.
All right. Speaking of easy, let's move on to number 3. Because number 3 is all about kind of impressing by being just the most easy and amazing person to work with. Now, this is a bit of a secret weapon. I'm not going to lie. But if you use my secret weapon, you will impress your prospects. And they will be like, dang, that's nice. Now, not going to lie, it requires a little bit of work from you, but with technology, it's actually really simple. And this is what I call wowing them with your organization. In other words, make magical meeting minutes. Woo, magical meeting minutes. All right, here's the deal. We have a lot of sales calls. And you know who else is having a lot of sales calls? Your prospect. Your prospect is having a lot of sales calls. They're talking to you. They're talking to lots of other people. And what happens is you get off the phone with them and you're like, great, okay, well, thanks. We'll follow up later. And everybody else says the same thing. Now, imagine for a second that at the end of that call, the next day, an hour later, whatever it is, you turned around and sent them an email that said, hey, just a quick synopsis of everything that we covered during our sales call. And here's all the action items and when I'm going to be delivering those for you.
Wow.
I know, right? I know, right? I mean, who doesn't want that from a call? Like, we would all like that, because this comes down to differentiating yourself by being trustworthy. So when you think about a prospect and selling to that prospect and the relationship you're trying to build with them, what they really need to know is they need to feel certain that you are going to deliver. Now, let me give you an example. I cannot be the only one. In fact, I know everybody in my family is like this. Meredith, I can't wait to hear what your opinion is on this. But you go to a really nice restaurant and you sit down and the waiter comes around and the waiter says, I'd love to take your order. And you're at a party of 8. There's 8 with glorious people sitting around you. I remember those days. So back when 8 of us used to sit around a single table and that waiter would sit there and memorize everyone's order. How did it make you feel?
I hate that.
You right? It makes you feel nervous.
I just know something's going on. I'm waiting for something to go wrong.
Absolutely. I know he didn't get my order right. He's not going to get how I want my steak cooked. He's not going to, like I'm going to get the wrong drink, whatever. Right. And I get it. And, I waited tables as a teenager, right? I get it. Like people are like, oh, it looks so cool. Look, I'm so great. I can just memorize everything. But the problem is that you're thinking about you rather than thinking about the client. What the client or the prospect wants to know is nothing's going to get forgotten.
Yeah.
I can rely on you to manage this process because you've proven to me, you've demonstrated to me that you can manage this process and keep me informed. So what prospects really care about is, did you get everything I said right? And are you going to do what you say you're going to do so that I can relax? Because if you aren't managing the sales cycle, then as a prospect, I have to manage the sales cycle.
Right. That's too much work.
It's too much work.
I don't want to do that.
This is where the being easy to work with comes in. Now, it's easy enough to make meeting minutes, right? But check out this cool bit of tech that you can use. There's a cool app, and there's actually a couple of them out there now. I'm just going to focus on one right now called Deep Talk-AI. Deep Talk-AI. And Deep Talk AI is a really cool tool that uses artificial intelligence to analyze your meeting in real time or via a recording, like your Zoom recording. It analyzes it in real time. And as things are said during the meeting, like, great, I'll send to you one day, it pulls it out and goes, that's an action item.
Whoa. Wow.
Or if you say things like, so here's what's going to happen. Boom, 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 boom. That's a decision. So it's pulling out your action items and your decisions all automatically so that you can review them. And then you can go through and tweak them. So at the same time, it's actually transcribing your meeting. Not only that, but it comes away and gives you some wicked cool analytics on it. Like, for example, it gives you analytics about like how many words per minute were you speaking, and how many action items were created, and what was the intensity of the meeting. Was it like a high intensity meeting, or was it like a mid intensity meeting? You can search through your notes and comments. But just all of a sudden, you are this incredible resource for your prospect and your client by being like, look, relax. I've got this for you. Like, whatever you need, I've got the answers. I'm incredibly organized. I'm on top of things. Nobody wants to trust you with a messy briefcase. And this is how you get away from the messy briefcase and you deliver awesome bonus value. And you can use some really cool AI tech to do it. I do love a good AI conversation analysis. I really get excited about that.
You know, every time I talk with you, I mean, I know what's coming up. Like, I know what we're, you know, we're talking about tech differentiation. And I come to these shows and I think, oh, I didn't know she was going to, I learned something. Why am I not using that? Like that's, wow. That,
yeah.
You know, it expands my thinking about what's really possible. Like, it's great to get the language right, but if you don't have the benefit of things like, you know, like the tracking of when somebody's opening things, or, you know, the trust factor, just them seeing your face and having that mirror exposure effect. I mean, all of those things, it's just, it really amplifies. These are slight edge things that when you have them working for you, they can really be powerful. When you don't know, when they're not working in your favor, you got to assume that they're working in someone else's favor. And then they have the edge that could so easily be yours.
Yep. The secret, in my opinion, the best sales professionals give their prospects what they want, but didn't know they could even ask for. Boom, mic drop, take that. I mean, it is. If you just imagined as like, what would wow you as a prospect, deliver that to your prospects, and you will differentiate and stand out.
I love that. I love that so much. I got so much from this episode. My mind is blown. But, you know, one of the things that you said kind of early on in the conversation was about connecting personally, even when you can't connect in person. And I think, you know, my first big takeaway, my challenge for myself, my challenge to our audience is just make every email that you send today a video email. You know, it's just not really that hard. And it's just that much better at helping you really stand out from the pack. And then maybe, you know, tomorrow add in the AI layer or the share kit or the dachshund. But gosh, you just gave so many actionable tips today. I really just want to clear my calendar and do all of them.
Because this tech stuff is awesome. And I can't help that I get excited. Okay. All right. So, you know, to your point, right? Pick something. Pick a way to start and make some magic happen. And that is really what I want everyone to take away from this. Go and get the links. You can check out the apps. If you ever want to see new apps, don't forget that you can certainly, you know, drop us a note and ask us. You know, I think that's the whole point of the Smarter Sales Show is, you know, take something and make something happen. You know, don't just rest and hope that your sales will continue to survive. Instead, look for ways to leverage technique and tech to get ahead and to improve yourself one skill at a time. What else is coming up, Mary? So tell me about what you're going to be doing next week. You gave a little bit of teaser earlier.
I did. I've been preparing some really cool things, but you know, next week we're going to really continue to build on this 4-pack of on our theme of differentiation. And we're going to talk about how your messaging can be different, but also different from all the people who are already trying to be different, how like that next layer of different. So I'm going to give you my 3 merit-based messaging strategies. You're going to love those.
Hey.
And base, I don't want to say even more. It's you want to really make sure that you don't sound like everyone else out there, and you'll be surprised at how easy some of these strategies are. So yeah,
I love it. And I think that is going to be hugely valuable. And in fact, the tech tools I've shared today is going to save you tons of time. So how about you give us a few of those minutes back? And by doing so, you could subscribe to us at the Smarter Sales Show on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Sales Experts channel, and stop and give us a 5-star review. Give us just a great review, or just share your feedback. I mean, each of these tips is worth its own star. And please share the Smarter Sales Show with each of your colleagues and all of your drinking buddies. But Merritt, you've got something to share with the class?
Yes, I do. Because if you really want something different for your next meeting, I want to tell you that we recently did a custom version of the Smarter Sales Show for a global software company. I mean, they used to fly in hundreds of people from all over the world for this big live event for their annual sales kickoff. And they really wanted something different. So they had to prepare their global sales team, not just to be good at virtual sales meetings, but amazing at them. So we did master classes for them on tech and technique. We kicked off their entire event with a super fun, very interactive, high energy keynote version of the Smarter Sales Show. And if your organization really does need to get people excited and in action, and you're on the hunt for something truly different, shoot us an email at hello@thesmartersalesshow.com. Let's talk about how to make your event spectacular.
It has been a huge pleasure to be with you today, as always, and I hope that you've taken some great strategies away from today that is going to help you not only sell better today, but sell better tomorrow. I'm Julie Holmes, your tech expert.
And I'm Merritt Khan, your technique expert.
And this is the Smarter Sales Show. Thanks for watching.